back to another exciting time with Coach K in his Math Corner. Okay, today we're going to talk about equivalent percents, fractions, and decimals. As a student, I'll be able to convert between percents, fractions, and decimals. I will know I have it when I fill in the conversion chart correctly on the exit ticket. Here we go. Okay, well, in front of you, you see a chart. And again, remember that we want to be able to write equivalent percents, fractions, and decimals. And this chart is going to be your helpful guide to going between percents, fractions, and decimals. Now, I don't want you to think that this is going to be simple because you have a guide, but I don't want you to think it's going to be really challenging and difficult either. You just have to pay attention to details and words. So here we go. Let's look at fraction 4/5 down here at the bottom. And you notice that in this chart, everything you say, like fraction to decimal, decimal to fraction, follow these rules right here. Okay? Follow these rules. And when you go from a fraction to a decimal, you do it through division. You divide the numerator by the denominator. And that's strange because normally we divide the smaller number into the larger, but this time you're going to find that you may be dividing the larger into the smaller. So here we go, 4/5 right here. I'm going to change it to a decimal, so we're going to go right here, right now. Okay? And so this is what it is. You're going to divide 4 by 5. Now you know you can't divide 5 into 4. So we're going to add a 0 after that decimal point. Put that decimal point there. 5 goes into 4 0 times. We drag the 0 up to, or the decimal point up to the top. And 40 divided by 5 is 8. So our decimal amount is 0 and 8/10. You also could write it as a decimal in hundredths. Okay, you could write that as 80 hundredths as well, which would look like this, 0.8, if you wanted it that way. I mean, that's up to you. 8/10 is the same as 80 hundredths. Remember, out of 100, if you were going to change it to a percent, 10 times 10 is 100, 8 times 10 is 80, and we would have 80%. Okay? 80%. 80%. Because percent means out of 100. Okay? And again, if anything I say doesn't make sense to you, please ask. I know sometimes I go too fast or I get too wordy. Alright? Okay, here we go to the next piece. Sorry about that. Let's erase all this stuff out of here so I can make sure I'm going to the right location. Now we're going to start with a decimal, which is right here. Now we want to go from a decimal to a fraction, and then from a decimal to a percent. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we carefully erase those lines so I can put my numbers in there. And let's go from a decimal to a fraction. So anytime you want to go from a decimal to a fraction, we say the decimal and write a fraction for what it sounds like. Okay? For how it sounds. So we're going to say this is 25 hundredths. 25 hundredths. But I know that every time I work with a fraction, I want to make sure I put it in the simplest form. So I know I can divide both of these by 25 because 25, I know how many quarters are in a dollar, so that's 25 cents in a dollar. I mean, there are 4 quarters in a dollar. Sorry about that, but I'm going to divide both of these by 25. My answer is going to be 1/4. Okay, so I'm going to write 1/4 there. Okay? Now, if, and probably the one thing that I should do is write 25 100ths equals 1/4 so that you know where I'm headed. Now we want to go to the percent side. Okay, so we want to go from a decimal to a percent. And we want to look right here. Move the decimal two places to the right, or in other words, multiply by 100. So let's see. Let's erase all this other mark over here so that I can have enough room to explain to you what we're going to do next. And here we go. So I'm going to take this decimal point and I'm going to move it twice to the right. Or in other words, if I multiplied by 100, 25 hundredths times 100, I would go 0 times 25, 0 times 25, and 1 times 25 is 25. How many decimal places do I have? 2. 1, 2. There it is, 25. But now I have to remember to write it as a percent. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Again, just follow this chart right here. It'll make your day better. Just like my day is better after I'm done exercising the day before. Hey, here we go, one more. Now we're going to take percent. We have percent. We're going to change it to a decimal. Let's see, percent to decimal goes right here. So you're going to move the decimal 2 places to the left, or you're going to divide by 100. Okay? So here it is, 15%. Well, I don't know where the decimal's at. And remember our saying, if it's not in sight, it's on the right. And we're going to move it twice, once, twice to the left. So it's going to be 0.15. Okay? And if we want to go from a decimal to a fraction, say the decimal, 15 hundredths. So that's right, 15 hundredths. But I also know that when I write 15 over 100, I need to also say, hey, I might be able to simplify this. Remember, I'm going to divide. Maybe you want to use the cakewalk method. You know how to use the cakewalk method. 15 100ths. Let's divide. Let's see. Well, I can divide both of these by 5. So 100 divided by 5 is 20. And 15 divided by 5 is 3. That's in its simplest form. So my answer of 15 hundredths could also be written as 3 20ths. Sorry, kids, I put that fairly small at the bottom. Okay? So let's make sure that we follow these rules. I think if you follow these rules, you're really going to find that this is going to make it much easier for you to understand how to move back and forth from a fraction to a decimal to a fraction, percent to decimal, or a decimal to percent. Okay? Now, I know I went through that quickly. Maybe it doesn't all make sense. Let's go to this next piece. This is your, not your exit ticket, but your independent work. Okay? So make sure that you get your independent work in there. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now you're going to find at the bottom of your notes an independent work. Make sure you show me, pause the video, and then do it. And when you're done, show me. You're going to see, though, that because I made an error in my video, that the independent study or the independent work on your paper is not the same as you see here. I just wanted to put this here so you would know that you have to do that and then show me, okay? All right, and then the last piece is, okay, are you there? There you go. Make sure that you also, when you're finished, that you show, after you're done doing that, here's your assignment. Make sure you get it. Make sure that you take it out of the folder at the back of the table. Also, make sure that you see that you're just doing these right. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Okay, we're getting there. Yeah, I apologize, kids. Make sure you show me that, or make sure you see that you're only doing these right here, okay? Alrighty. Make sure you rate yourself as well, okay? When you're done with that, you have an exit ticket. When you're done with the exit ticket, make sure you bring it to me. And let's make sure that we keep moving, kids, because you know you got some work to do. All right, I get to it and let's go. Come on, come on, come on. I know. My enthusiasm is overwhelming you. I understand that completely.